Hey guys, Brian Ramos and Dolphins lost to the Dallas Cowboys 6-31. Even though the score is pretty bad, it wasn't as bad of a game in the first half. But nonetheless, let's get into it.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team.
So like I do with every post-game video, I'm going to go over the stats of both teams for the most part. So starting off with our starting quarterback for this game, Josh Rosen. He went 18 for 39, 200 yards, 0 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. Sacked 3 times for a loss of 18 yards. Ryan Fitzpatrick got some playtime because Josh Rosen went into some type of concussion protocol because he was going down, and then one of the Dallas Cowboys hit him on the way down and didn't look so good for a second. Anyways, Fitzpatrick went 2 for 2, 29 yards, put us in good field position, and then Josh Rosen came back in. On the other hand, the other quarterback in this game, Dak Prescott, went 19 for 32, 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 1 sack for a loss of 5 yards. That sack came from, nonetheless, Taco Charlton, former first rounder in 2017 from the Dallas Cowboys, who got released by them this week. So bet your butt he was happy about that sack. Now, when we talk about rush game was, the offense in the second half really wasn't there, but the rushing was doing decent. And then we shied away from it in the second half because we were behind again, trying to play catch up once again. Anyways, Kenyon Drake, 13 carries, 44 yards. Josh Rosen, 3 carries, 13 yards. Kalen Ballard, 7 carries, 11 yards. Jakeem Grant, 1 carry, 4 yards. Now, when we look at the Dallas Cowboys, they had 3 runners. Ezekiel Elliott, 19 carries, 125 yards. Tony Pollard, 13 carries, 103 yards, 1 touchdown. Dak Prescott, 2 carries, 7 yards, 1 touchdown. Now, let's go into some receiving stats. And man, oh man, there was a lot of drops this game. A lot. Let's start with Preston Williams. Targeted 12 times. 12, right? 4 receptions. That's 8 drops. 68 yards, though. Given a lot of the plays that he was targeted on was 50-50 balls, good defensive plays by the Cowboys, and so on. There was also a ball that he dropped in the end zone. That, when I was watching, I thought he got a touchdown because he took 2 steps, then the ball came out of his possession. Should have been a touchdown. Otherwise, the score wouldn't be 6-31. It would be at least 6-13, if anything. But 13-31, if anything. But nonetheless, Devontae Parker, 6 targets, 3 receptions, 3 drops, 56 yards. But same thing, just most of the drops that he had, 2 of the drops he had were like tough catches to make. So I'll give him that. But gotta catch him, man. He had an easy catch that he dropped in the red zone. That I think that was the same drive that it was just eventfully Kenyon Drake fumbled the ball. Nonetheless, Kenyon Drake was the next play I was gonna talk about. 6 targets, 3 receptions, another 3 drops, 34 yards though. Jakeem Grant, 4 receptions, 27 yards, 7 targets. The rest of the guys got targeted once, 3, 2, 1. But wasn't that very good offensively for the rest of the guys. Amari Cooper, 6 receptions, 88 yards, 7 targets. And Xavier Howard was shadowing him for the most part of the game, and he still put up those numbers. So it makes you think, did Xavier Howard play good this game? No, he didn't play good. Given he was covering their best wide receiver, but still, man. And I feel like Allen Hurns could have done really good, but he got taken out of the game early with should have possibly been called the helmet-to-helmet hit on him by the safety Heath, but it wasn't called, but whatever. Jason Witten, 3 receptions, 54 yards. Devin Smith, 2 receptions, 39 yards. Tony Pollard, 3 receptions, 25 yards. Randall Cobb, 2 receptions, 23 yards. He should have had a touchdown, but offsetting penalties caused that play to go kaput. Now, Ezekiel Elliott, 2 receptions, 14 yards. And Darwin had 1 reception, 3 yards. Now we're talking fumbles. Kenyon Drake fumbled the ball in the red zone. And who recovered it? DeMarcus Lawrence. Jakeem Grant and Bobby McCain both fumbled balls, but they ended up going out of bounds. Jakeem Grant fumbled it on a punt return, and then Bobby McCain fumbled it when he intercepted the ball off of Dak Prescott. Defensively, I'm just going to go over a couple players. Sam McGuavin, he did pretty good. 8 total tackles, 7 solo. Walt Aikens, 5 total tackles, 4 solo. Christian Wilkins, 5 tackles, 4 solo. Bob McCain, 4 tackles, 3 solo. Devon Godshaw, 4 tackles, 3 solo. Stephen Parker, 4 tackles, 2 solo. Raekwon McMillan, 3 overall. Jerome, 3 overall. And then the rest are 2s, 1s, blah, blah, blah. Interceptions, Bobby McCain, 1 interception, return for 21 yards. Not bad. Jakeem Grant, 1 kick return for 26 yards. Jakeem Grant, punt return, 2 and 1 yard, and then the other one was a fumble. Wilson for Dallas Cowboys had 1 punt return for 13 yards. Kicking game, Jason Sanders, 2 for 3. Man, first field goal, I said money when he kicked it, and he missed it. This is a goalpost. The camera, imagine, it was going, and Mount Hurd, whatever his name is, the kicker for Dallas, 1 for 2. He missed a field goal too. He doinked it, and then he had 4 for 4 extra points. Now, Matt Hack punted the ball 5 times for 219 yards. 1 of them was in the 20. Dallas Cowboys punter Jones had 3 punts for 133 yards, and 1 of them was in the 20. Now that the stats are out of the way, I'm going to go over some team stats. We were 3 for 15 on third downs, right? And then the Dallas Cowboys were 5 for 10. You can guess who can win just off of that. 4th down, Dolphins went for it 3 times, got it 1 time. Twice on 1 drive, trying to just get back in this game, it didn't work. Right? Let's see what else stands out to you. Overall, our passing game, 211 yards to Dallas' 241. But the big thing here is the rushing. 72 overall yards of rushing for the Dolphins, right? And for the Cowboys, 235. And that's just between 2 guys. I mean, come on. Jeez Louise. Just wasn't pretty. For the most part of the game, we were in it. We were in it in the first half. The score at halftime was 6-10. Now, we went scoreless in the second half. Dallas Cowboys put up 21 in the second half. I mean, it is what it is. So, what do I think of Josh Rosen's first game as a starter? If the game ended in the first half, I would have thought, hey, man, good game. But it wasn't the best, but it wasn't terrible at all either. I mean, he did pretty well, given that the offensive line was getting collapsed every 5 seconds in the second half. First half, the offensive line did pretty well, but then Justin Davis went out. Then we had to shift to Michael Dito over to left tackle, which is not really his position. He's supposed to be a guard. But they didn't work. Didn't work out so well. But Josh Rosen evaded tackles as much as he could, and he did pretty good at that. But it just wasn't enough. We had to play catch up, so I put the ball in Josh Rosen's hands a lot. And that's not a bad thing, but when your receivers aren't catching all the ball, I mean, there's no game, barely ever a game I see that the receivers catch every ball. But lately, the past 2 games for the Dolphins, the receivers have been dropping the ball a lot. Just too much. It's not good. Now, the fumble in the red zone, not good either. I really was upset by that because We could have been down by 1 point at halftime, at least. But then doing too much and you fumble the ball. Kenyon Drake, given he got hit pretty hard and then kind of like pushed the ball out of his possession, but still, come on. Then early on in the game, I mentioned this earlier, but Allen Hurns got hurt. I mean, when you lose a receiver, I mean, Allen Hurns hasn't really done much for the Dolphins lately, but can't see how the guy does if he's not in the game. So, whatever. I liked what they did. They gave the ball to Kenyon Drake more than they did to Balaj. Good of the Dolphins by doing that. You gotta give him his chance because he did well previous years, but this has always been Kenyon Drake's one downfall is ball security. He fumbled it against Chicago, and then he ended up. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna end up winning the game for us. Don't worry about that fumble." Whatever. Ended up winning the game. Blah blah blah. But still, we need to do better. And possession wasn't that bad. For the most part, Dolphins were controlling the possession of the game, right? But it finished off being Dolphins 29 and 4 seconds. 29 minutes, 4 seconds. Dallas Cowboys 30 minutes, 56 seconds. For the most part, this game was good, but we just did not come out well after halftime. We didn't come out to win the game after halftime. After halftime, Dallas Cowboys stepped all over the Dolphins. Pretty much plain and simple. But hey, there's next week. Before the camera cut off, just talking about next week's game at the Dallas. Before the video cut off, I was talking about the game next week back at home against the San Diego, LA Chargers. And who knows? I mean, that's another playoff team from last season. 4 straight playoff teams for the Dolphins. If you guys expected the Dolphins to win any of these games, especially with the latest moves, including myself, I thought we could have won a game or two, but that wasn't the case. But yeah, man, it's very tough for what has been dealt to the Dolphins, well, to Brian Flores and his coaching staff, what has been dealt to him to try to win with. It's not the best thing ever because given if we would have had some of the players that we traded away, I would have liked our odds better, but that is not happening here right now. And it sucks. But it is what it is. This is the process you need to go through in order to hopefully rebuild the franchise and be a lot better in the future to come. But that is pretty much it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you did, give it a nice thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell option, get notified every time I upload a video. And if not, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @ByAustinRamos. I post there every time I upload a video. And check out byaustinramos.com. Always has everything there. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully Dolphins can finally get a win next week against the LA Chargers at home. That'd be great if that's the case. But if not, whatever. Just keep on going. Keep on improving. Go week by week. So and so. And lastly, fins up, y'all boys.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team.